Introduction of private members' bills. Mr. Webber, seconded by Mr. Kimmich, moves for leave to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Canada Revenue Agency Act, Organ and Tissue Donors. This motion is deemed to be deemed adopted. The Honourable Member for Calgary Confederation.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to reintroduce my private member's bill that I originally introduced in the previous parliamentary session. The bill last year passed unanimously through all stages in this House in just 25 sitting days, but unfortunately it did die on the order paper at second reading in the Senate when the election was called. So I'm here today again to once again introduce this bill. Mr. Speaker, there are approximately 4,600 Canadians currently awaiting a life-saving organ transplant. And while about 90% of Canadians approve of organ and tissue donation, only about 20% of Canadians actually have registered consent on their provincial or territorial registries. This is an absolute unacceptable number, and so this is where we can help as parliamentarians, Mr. Speaker. My bill would assist Canadian provinces and territories in growing and maintaining their organ and tissue donor registries. The bill is simple. It would ask Canadians on their annual income tax return if they consent to having their provincial or territorial government be informed of their desire to be added to their organ and tissue donor registry. It's that simple, a question of consent on the income tax form. Currently, Mr. Speaker, the Canada Revenue Agency prohibits the use of the income tax form for any purpose other than the administration of taxes. In order to allow for a question regarding organ and tissue donation on the tax form, a legal exemption must be created. This was done once before in the tax form so that Elections Canada could ask Canadians for updated contact information. So again, what I'm proposing is a simple question of organ and tissue donation be placed on the tax form alongside of the Elections Canada question. I want to thank the Honourable Member for Calgary-Shepherd for seconding my bill, and also the 20 members of Parliament from all the parties in this House who have officially seconded my bill in a remarkable display of parliamentary cooperation. So I ask all members of this House, through you, Mr. Speaker, to pick up the torch and consider passing this bill again with the same amount of enthusiasm so that we can help save lives for hundreds of Canadians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Webber, seconded by Mr. Kimmich, moves that the bill be now read a first time and be printed. This motion is deemed adopted.
First reading of this bill, première lecture de ce projet de loi.
Shall the bill be read a second time? At the next sitting of the House.